It is my pleasure to introduce our candidates. Representing the Liberal Party, Gloria Ressler. Representing the PC Party, Julia Monroe. Representing the New Democratic Party, Megan Tay. And representing the Green Party, Mead Hellman. We'll begin with each candidate making a 2-minute opening remark, starting on this side and going across. So, you're on.
You don't have to come up, or
You
shall I
can.
just...
You can use that mic or come up, whatever you prefer.
They say it's better to stand when you're talking. Good evening. My name is Gloria Ressler, and I'm pleased to be here tonight to present the Liberal platform to you. In terms of myself, I've spent over 30 years as a volunteer with Save the Rouge, with Oak Ridges Moraine as an auxiliary police sergeant in downtown Toronto. I've had a lot of success as a volunteer in terms of bringing good things to the people, and that has been part of my incentive to run as the Liberal candidate here in York Simcoe. In 2003, when the Liberals came to power, and we were very grateful to have that opportunity to set the province on the right course of action, we inherited a $5.6 billion debt. We were not aware that that was the state of the economy because the previous government had said that it was balanced book time. That, in fact, was not true. So our schools were in terrible disarray. There were a lot of strikes. Hospital care was abysmal. And we needed to implement some very strong course of action in order for us to get the province back on shape. I am very pleased with what we've done over the past 8 years. We've had a terrible recession that even May facts still continue to hit us, but Ontario has recouped a substantial amount of jobs. In Canada, we're the leading job reinstatement, and in fact in North America. Our school system is one of the top schools in the world. Our healthcare, we've hired back 11,000 nurses. We've opened up many hospitals. The previous government closed 28. We've done a lot of good stuff, and I'm looking forward to your questions here tonight that I can expand upon that. Thank you.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and it's certainly a pleasure to be able to join you here tonight, and I want to thank the East Gwillimbury Chamber of Commerce for making this possible for us this evening. People in East Gwillimbury, as people across the province, face a serious choice when they vote on October the 6th. Two of the most serious problems we face are the ever-increasing burden of taxes and the mountain of debt that the McGuinty government has created to leave for our children and our grandchildren. Taxes are contributing to the runaway cost of living in Ontario. Hydro is going up, gas is going up, even food is going up. People need relief. A Tim Hudak government will provide relief while maintaining necessary services. Our aim is to put a little more money in people's pockets. We will lower income taxes on middle-class families by 5% on the first $75,000 of taxable income. We will cancel the eco-taxes on items you use around the house every day, such as light bulbs or batteries. We will remove the HST from home hydro bills and home heating. How will this be paid for? While exempting health and education, we will find savings of 2 cents on the dollar every year on government spending, and we will reduce the size of cabinet and the public service. We are committed to publicly funded care for Ontario families, and we will increase spending, health spending, by $6.1 billion over 4 years. And we will deal with the debt. The McGuinty government would have us believe that they are running a deficit only because Ontario went into a recession and tax revenues went down. But the fact of the matter is the McGuinty government has increased spending by 77% in 8 years. I don't think many of us in this room could afford to increase our budget by 77% in 8 years. This is not sustainable. We must attack waste and rein in runaway spending, because we cannot leave the debts of today to be paid by our children and grandchildren. We have debt levels and deficit levels that have never been before imagined. It took 136 years for 23 premiers to build Ontario's debt, and it has taken Dalton McGuinty 8 years to double it while in office. This is the legacy that Dalton McGuinty wants to leave our children and grandchildren. I ask for your support so that we can reverse this legacy and provide relief to Ontario families. Thank you.
Hi. I think the one thing that comes up time and time again when I'm knocking on doors and when I'm talking to people is, why are you running for the Green Party? Well, there's a lot of reasons. I think the first one that comes to mind tonight is that Albert Einstein once said, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. That's what we have the choice of doing on this election. I've seen 8 years of the Liberals doing things over and over again. I look at the current PC platform and I look at Mike Harris's PC platform, and they line up nicely. We need to start doing things differently. We need to think about things differently. I'm a father and a grandfather. I'm concerned about the world my grandchildren and their children are going to live in. Are they going to have clean water? Are they going to have green, sustainable energy? Are they going to have good jobs? Are they going to have a health care system? I've been a manager and executive for 25 years and spent another handful of years as a consultant. Because of that, I'm concerned about government transparency. Why are there so many backroom deals? And I'm also concerned that the government responds to people in local communities. This evening we have an opportunity to ask some questions and maybe get some answers. I can tell you ahead of time, it's hard in 2 minutes that we're normally allowed at one of these things to answer the questions, because they're so complex and so interrelated. So I hope you'll have patience with us. And I hope that after tonight's over, you go to the candidates and say, excuse me, but you said this. Now, what did you mean by that? And find out what they really meant. And then go out and vote and get your neighbors to vote. So a lot of people are apathetic this year, and it's not the time to be apathetic. We are in a democracy. You folks are practicing it. I would challenge you to go out and get your neighbors to practice it. And I'm looking forward to hearing your questions. Thank you.
All right, I'm Megan Tay, and I'm the NDP candidate for York Simcoe. I think this is a very important election for all of us. It's very much a defining point for Ontario and the country. Right now, there's a Conservative Prime Minister in Ottawa, there's a Conservative Mayor in Toronto, and we do have a very real possibility of a Conservative Premier in Queen's Park. On October 6th, Ontario has the opportunity to make a defining decision. It can decide what's important to it. Big companies, interest companies, banks, or taking care of each other. Tonight, in the next few hours, other parties are going to try and convince you that this is a two-way race. And you know what? You're right. It's a race between their interests and your interests. It's a race between being told what to think and thinking for yourselves. It's a race between the status quo and change. A change that will put people first instead of faceless corporations. Tonight, I ask you to listen to the questions and the answers with an open mind, and to look at each other's, all the parties' platforms, and make an informed decision on October 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And now we'll begin with some questions. The first one is, the request is to answer this question in 3 sentences, please. And this is open to all candidates. What will be your personal focus area in case you were elected? Someone like to jump in on that one to start? Thank you.
First sentence. My personal focus would be to listen to what you have to tell me. I think that's a paramount concern in representing the people of this riding. I believe you have been underserviced, and I really feel that my experience in reaching out to individuals would be the key point that I would do for you. I think that's 3 sentences. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for the question. Mine is a 2-part answer in 3 sentences. The first one is the question of the needs of the community are always an extremely important part of what I think my job is, and will continue to be so if I am fortunate enough to be your MPP. The second one is the question of business, small business, and the problems that small business face, particularly around red tape. An economy needs a healthy small business base. 3 sentences.
Most civilizations that have died out because they've drowned themselves in their own poisons, or they've used up their resources. My emphasis over, if I'm elected, would be on sustainability. How can we make things last? How do we go forward in the future? How do we keep from poisoning ourselves and using up all our resources? Thank you.
I can do it in one word. People. I would focus on putting their needs first, providing them with the jobs and the services that they need. And I would take care of their resources, like Lake Simcoe, where we get our drinking water from. I would just make sure to listen to them and what's important to them.
What is the amount of the provincial debt, and how long did it take to get that way? I'd ask Julia to start on that one, please.
Yes. The debt is $300 billion, and as I mentioned in my opening remarks, it was $150 billion in 2003, and that was the historic build up of the province's debt.
Thank you.
I'm not sure what you want. Do you want me to repeat the same numbers? The debt is the debt. It's there. We have to deal with it. And we have to pay it off.
Any other comments? Does everyone agree?
I can give you some numbers for the costing of the platforms. For the 2015-2016 fiscal year, it would cost the Ontario Liberal Party $3,575 million. The PC Party, $5,995 million. Sorry, Mead. They don't think you're important enough to list you on this. Sorry. And the NDP, $3,352 million. So whatever savings is in there can obviously go towards the reduction of the deficit.
Okay.
Our government has committed to eliminating the deficit by 2018, and that is the same as another party's timeline as well. We have used very, I hate to use the word, I don't really hate to use the word, but I use the word conservative estimating, because we do not know with the global economy and with the American economy slowing down as to how we're going to be able to, if we did an earlier date, could we match, meet that time frame. So we are looking at a slower, careful approach, realizing that yes, it's going to cost some interest in doing that. If we can, if the economy picks up in Ontario continues to do as well as it is, then that deficit can be reduced in a much quicker time frame. Thank you.